Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live out of Kingsland, Texas, USA, with episode number 2 of Hebrew for Fun and Profit, with our beloved teacher, Moreh Gavriel Sanders, out of Queens, New York. Man, I keep trying to call everybody Rabbi. What's really funny is last week or the week before, it was really ironic because just out of my quick, not being quick-witted, but just a quick response, my wife asked me something while I was on a phone call, and I said, Rabbi, give me a minute. And she looked at me kind of funny. I was like, just forget it. My mind's in the studio.
All of my students call me Rabbi. I mean, look, the baseline meaning of the word is teacher.
Gotcha.
So, but I don't, I feel a little uncomfortable with it. I am working towards what's called smicha.
Oh, nice! Really,
which is rabbinical ordination. That's one of my objectives. Then, if I write the book, I can call it from Rev to Rav.
Nice, Rev to Rav. Very good.
Although I was thinking of calling the autobiography maybe from Goy to Oy. I don't know what you think about that.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. But actually, both of those are very nice.
The working title is A Minister's Journey to Judaism, but
how about that?
That's the lecture I've done for many years. But that's what it has, a whole other subject matter, and not for here and for what we're working on here. First of all, lovely to be with you again. Thank you very much. I was very surprised to see how many people took the time to view last week's lesson, and I appreciate that. And those a few people that actually wrote to me and telling me about their experience, either in relation to having been in the church and coming out, wanting to learn Hebrew, discovering maybe Jewish roots in their family tree that they didn't know were there. So I've had some very interesting contacts with people through this channel, and I think that it just, here's a good old word, testifies. It really gives us an indication, a benchmark reading of the amazing numbers of people that are out there who feel a connection to things Hebrew, things Jewish, and not just because the Messianic movement says this is what you got to do. That,
sure.
By the way, as you well know, that is such a recent phenomenon that it's not emblematic or characteristic of the last 2,000 years. It's more like the last 4 decades, as it's sort of blossomed, especially the last 2 decades, where it's really taken on more substance and definition and character, seeking to be a 5th branch in the menorah. By the way, I mentioned to you last week that I was not too far from JFK.
You know what's funny? I thought that was my air conditioner. I was like, yes, it's finally working. Actually, it's been working, but I figured it was working overtime. I need to go shut this thing because it's actually kind of noisy, and I think it's blowing my green screen around. Hang on a second. Keep talking.
Okay, so we've had no planes go over. The flight path has been just fine today until right now when you hit the button and said let's record. So the best laid plans.
It's like washing your car.
This is life in real time. So thanks to everyone for putting up with the imperfections of our platform.
Hey, that's fine too. And just for all those who are tuning in for the first time, our classes are going to be, or his class will be typically around 15 minutes. That's going to be our target zone. Could be 10 minutes, could be 25, 30 minutes. We're not sure. We're going to keep it really refined to a very isolated amount of time. And then for last week, if you did not see the pilot episode for this, you should do so. It's about an hour long, like 59 minutes, and it's just wonderful. The first 30 minutes, literally almost on the second. It's like at 29 minutes and 30 seconds. That first half hour was a really wonderful, juicy testimony of his journey out of the church and into Judaism. And then the second half was just a little bit of telling us about him and what he's done, what his credentials are, and a few little spot teasers for what we're doing today. So again, if you missed it, you really should go back and watch that. That'll be good. So. Okay, well, I guess we'll move forward. The phone lines will not be open during these series, just simply because 15 minutes is not a long time. Right. I can jump in and ask one question and derail him for 5 to 7 minutes, which is half the show. So we'll try to keep it clean, and we'll just go right ahead. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen with us,
I'm going to do that. So let me know what you see when you do it.
Very good.
And we're starting.
Yep, very good. Got it. I'm going to put you up full screen on my side now. Okay, I see your desktop now. That's good.
Okay, and let's see, how did I do? This is so funny because we were just doing this a moment ago to make sure that we had it all set up, and I'm trying to. Here we go.
I
This.
went
Here we
through
go. I
the
know what we
same
do.
thing. Perfect.
I know exactly what we do. Here we go.
Nice. Very good.
Okay, good. Now you should see full screen.
Yes, very good. Hebrew for fun and profit. PHET. Yes.
Okay, very good. So let's first of all take a look at the menu for today. On today's program, we're asking the question, can you learn a year's worth of Hebrew in just 3 weeks? And there's a positive answer to that question, and I'll put a resource here in your direction for that. Is Hebrew the prototype of the world's languages? There's a whole new branch of research called Edenics that will just give a little we used to say smack roll, just a little taste of that. But I'll point you to a direction where you can do more viewing of some video and some web research on that subject. One of the features that we wish to add as we go along is something called Sage Advice, which is a saying of the week known as, in Hebrew as Pitkam HaShavua. And then for the beginners amongst us, we'll have a little lesson toward the end. So those of you that actually are not at a beginner level, you'll be able to drop off at that point. I think in the future we'll try and divide this up into 2 segments so that you can self-select where you'd like to come in on. All right.
And just to clarify that, what we mean is maybe even having 2 separate shows, Hebrew for beginners and then intermediate Hebrew. So that way you can tune in at 2 o'clock or you can tune in at 2:30, whichever your choice would be. So.
Sounds like a plan. So I asked the question, can you learn a year's worth of Hebrew in just 3 weeks? So interestingly, I was given the opportunity through the high school where I teach to apply some district funds for continuing education for teachers to some subject matter that applies to my area of expertise at the school. So I looked around and I wanted to take a summer course in rather advanced level Hebrew. I looked at Boston College, and there were things in Israel, but the district funds were insufficient. So I used that wonderful device we have called Google, and I found something called HaUlpan in Manhattan on the Upper East Side, 82nd Street at Lexington. And I found that they offer in the summertime some very excellent intensive courses. They offer 4 intensives. I'm in one of those now at the highest level of that they offer. They have 9 levels that they offer there, and there's 2 more intensives coming up. This is a way that you can have a full Israeli immersion experience without the jet lag. The tuition is reasonable. I'll show you that on the next slide. They have small group classes using Israeli texts taught by Israeli teachers. Everyone's a native speaker. And if you know anything about getting around in Manhattan, then it's very subway close on the Upper East Side. You take the 4, 5, or 6 trains to 86, walk past Starbucks, where I'm sure you'll stop for coffee, and then turn right on 82nd at the Or Zarua congregation there. The building is very secure. It's a very safe place. It's so if you have some summertime remaining and you want to do something, you were thinking of going on a vacation, then I suggest you change your plans and come take a look at these dates. You see the lines here. This one's already done, and this one these are in motion and about to expire. But there's 2 more coming. There's a Monday through Friday course, July 25th through the August 11th, and then August 1st through the 23rd. These are evening courses. These are morning courses. Now, I get nothing for mentioning this to you. I'm not making an advertisement. I'm suggesting a resource that is a lot cheaper than going to Israel, and that you can do without the concomitant jet lag that goes along with it. You have 3 class hours per day, 42 total class hours. You can gain a year's worth of Hebrew learning in 3 short weeks, make some new friends, tour Jewish New York. If you do happen to come and do this, I'd love to meet up with you. Maybe we can have coffee together.
Nice.
This is a resource that you otherwise didn't know about, but now you do. Right. You can take advantage of it if you wish to. At any rate, you can go to their website at ha-ulpan.org. And if you do happen to register or inquire for more information, you'll talk to a woman whose name is Ahuva. Her phone number is on the site, Ahuva Tal Hollander. Just tell her that Gavriel sent you, and she'll be aware that we were helping to promote that summer program. It's an excellent program. As I mentioned, I'm in the highest level course. I wanted to do some work for myself in the area of writing, because someone who speaks a second language, if they've acquired it later, they may be very good at one particular or 2 particular modalities of expression, but not necessarily evenly across the board. And for me, writing I'm talking about academic writing or journalistic type of writing or collegiate level writing was not the easiest thing for me. So I decided to take a course. I've had an amazing teacher who's helped me very much in areas of syntactical, which sounds very dry, by the way, but she made it really exciting to deepen the language experience, smoothen it, and my vocabulary got a nice little bit more. I didn't know the word for monotonous or variegated, for example, in Hebrew, and now I know them. It's very, very useful terms, So, hey, Sanders, you're getting monotonous, so let's move on. Okay, let's move on.
All right, good timing.
So the question is, was Hebrew the first language? So when God spoke what are called the 10 utterances in the fifth, mentioned in the 5th chapter of Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, what language did he use? When he says Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or Vahi Or, that Vayomer, which means he said, what language was that? And what language did humanity speak before the dispersion after the Tower of Babel? And is there any traceable echo of the original language in today's modern languages? Now, the secular academic community says that Hebrew is a Western Semitic language of the Afro-Asiatic language family. Well, is it? Well, let me introduce you to let me give you just a little taste here of something called Edenics. What was the language of the Garden of Eden? So there's the website you can go to. You can note that, edenics.org. There's a lot of information there. And you'll see about a book, which I've had in my library for 15, 20 years maybe, the dictionary that reveals the Hebrew source of English. The Hebrew source of English? It's quite fascinating. Now, finding a print copy of this book today is no small feat because I think it's out of print. I saw some very expensive used copies on Amazon. It was written here by I was going to call him doctor. He did doctoral research. I don't think he finished his actual dissertation, but Isaac Moseson, who lives in Jerusalem. And I took a couple snippets from an interview that he did on Tablet Magazine, and I wanted to share these because this gives you the essence of what the whole proposition is about with Edenics. He says there are hundreds of English words which have almost the exact same structure as similar meaning Hebrew words. For example, ayin, twin, toem, tur, fruit, ferot, evil, avil, cry, kriya, lik, likek, peace, pasas, scale, shakel or shekel. The word shekel comes from that as well. Nice. Earth, aretz, wine, yain, direction, derech. While it's not easy to assume the Hebrew words I just mentioned were inspired by modern English, they're not. All these Hebrew words are found in the Bible, which means they're over 2,500 years old, far older than English. Now, Edenics works via word roots that are found over and over again in different words with similar connotations. For example, the Hebrew word for counting is moneh. Nice. That's not the artist, by the way. So that's with a T. Moneh. The mem nun is the subroot. Those two letters, mem nun, found here makes up a large word family from all kinds of languages dealing with amounts. See the word amounts. This includes mammon, money, hamon, which means many. The Hebrew word minyan, which is for a quorum of 10 men for a prayer service, and the English words minus, diminish, number, many. These are all things that have to do with measurements or quantities. But it goes further than that. The Hebrew word derech, which means way or road, has a dr root to it. It's also found in Russian, doroga, derecho in Spanish, durch in German, doro in Japanese. And by the way, if you take the dr root of derech and you reverse its order, you get the English word road. And can you see the Hebrew word from shomer, guardian, and the Japanese word samurai, the Emperor's Royal Guard? This is in 3 very short paragraphs from an interview a couple of years ago, the essence of Edenics. It asks a very compelling question. Now, you might remember that not too long ago, scientists and academicians did not accept the proposition that at one point all of the Earth, the landmass of the Earth, was one big, huge supercontinent known as Pangaea. But after the study of continental drift, and of course any 5-year-old can take and put together the puzzle pieces, certainly on the Atlantic side of things, South America into Africa, etc., it's pretty clear to see. And there's even some fascinating information on this coming out of Israel from research on this study as well. So what happened with Pangea and the acceptance of that, I believe eventually would happen, but a lot of pushback on this subject, because what would be the implications if what we're sharing today is really true? I'll let you think about that. So now there is on the website, you can take a look at it, an ebook, which is very inexpensive and has a lot of information. I think it's a 1,600-page ebook. Again, I'm not invested in this. I have no relationship with these people. I'm just passing on resources for you. So now I would like to flip the channel over to the section that we call Sage Advice, the Saying of the Week. That's not me on the left, by the way, if we're meeting for the first time. We call this the Pitgam HaShavua. Shavua means week, and HaShavua, the week, Pitgam, saying. And here is this, taken again from Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers. We're going to pull a few of these, because some of Judaism's most famous and compelling and broader known expressions come from Pirkei Avot. So, William, can I put you on the spot, and you want to hazard reading this?
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead. It's fine. Okay. Let me pull it on my other screen. Hang on one second, because the main screen is too far away. Okay, here we go. All right. Hu haya omer im ein ani li mili.
Right. These are fairly easy words.
Okay.
Hu haya omer, and this is, we're talking here about Hillel the elder.
Okay.
So he would say, Hillel says, Hu haya omer im ein ani li, if am not or is not I for me, who is for me?
Oh, right,
so
right.
Let's take a look at the vocabulary here. Here's Ivrit and Anglit. Here's the Hebrew section, the English section, obviously. So here's the word who. We're going to see that again later in just a few minutes. Who, meaning he. Haya, Omer, Im, Ani. Excuse me.
Ein.
Im,
Yeah.
Ein. Right. I jumped ahead. Ein, Ani, Li, me, Lee. So if someone wants a copy of this, by the way, you can certainly send me an email. I'll give you the email address at the end on the screen, and I can PDF any of these for you, so that you don't have to sit there and try and copy it down off of your YouTube screen or something like that. You can if you wish to, or you can just get in touch and I'll be happy to send you a copy of this, no problem.
Awesome.
So also I made sure that you have, if you know the handwritten form of Hebrew, I put that in here for you so you can easily transfer that over, because most people don't write in this block kind of, this is not Asherit script, it's another font, but this is pretty much how people write in handwritten.
That's really funny. That's just the opposite for us. I know the block, but not the writing part.
So then maybe this will help you out a little bit.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. So what I'd like to do is then switch gears for any, now if you are already, consider yourself an intermediate level person,
Okay.
you can kind of stop where we are right here. But for the rest of you that are interested in more of kind of a beginning orientation, or if you just want to look a little bit at the pedagogical method that I use at a real quick introductory level, then you're welcome to stick around for the next few short minutes. So this next section is, as I said, for those who consider themselves beginners, it's be good to have a piece of paper, a pen, or something before starting, as those instructions slowly melt into the West. So first, a few pictures. Now, you see this fellow pointing to himself, so but I want you to imagine him pointing at his knee. So what do we call that part of the body between the ankle and the thigh that enables you to bend your leg? It's called
The knee.
a knee.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a knee.
A knee.
Right. So the Hebrew word for I,
A knee.
myself, is ani.
Nice.
Now these two people are pointing at this fellow over here, and the obvious question is, who is he? And the answer is yes. Who is he?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, that's good.
The Hebrew word who is he. Well, if I is ani, and here we have who is he, then obviously then he is she.
That's funny.
I'll let that sink in for a moment.
It's kind of like the baseball. What was that baseball joke? Who's on first? What's on
yes,
second? I don't know who's on third.
Absolutely. It's exactly how it goes. So here we have ani, and who, and he. Ani, who, he. Okay, now let's go a little further with another picture. Now, when you see this, you know this so well, it's almost by rote. You could say it by rote, I suppose. What's the slogan that you associate with that picture?
I want you. Is that what it is, or something like that?
Right. Yes, that's right. Uncle Sam wants you. I want you. Exactly right. So you see, it's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
You know it so well that you can say it by rote. And the word in Hebrew is, let's go back. The word in Hebrew is rotse. Say, rotse.
Mm-hmm.
So I set you up for that. The Hebrew word is rotse. If you're male, so he would say ani rotse. He would over here hu rotse, and we change it slightly in the feminine with he rotsa.
Right.
Hu, so hu rotse, ani rotse. Now, if we take a woman and put her up here, also in this first position here, what's known as
Him.
first person. All right, first person singular. Then she, a woman, would say, your wife would say, if she wants something, ani rotsa.
Gotcha.
So go a little further. So we have the word here, the verb, the very common, very useful word, ani rotse, ani rotsa. And of course, here's one. So if someone loves you, they want you to have things, right? So just you plate of cookies, you go, no, it's okay, and then no, have, and no, it's okay, and then okay, I'll have it. So the Hebrew word for love is ohev. So this fellow over here would say ani ohev, Coca-Cola, whatever it is, pizza. He would say, about him we would say hu ohev. About her, we change it always a little bit. He ohevet. We'll come back to that. He ohevet. So we have rotse, and we have ohev, rotsa, ohevet. Let's go one more. You may not be able to see this as clearly, but this is someone is in bed dreaming. And this is one that you'll have to do what we say in Yiddish, halt kop about a little bit. You have to kind of work on this one a little bit. And by the way, if you have your piece of paper, just write it down phonetically, however it sounds to you. I'm going to give you the right spelling and everything in a moment. But right now I want you to work with your ears and with your eyes and with your mouth, not so much with the hand, other than phonetically. So this person's dreaming, and the Hebrew word for dream is, you have to gargle with milk first. Cholem. A woman is cholemet, so it's cholem and cholemet. You might notice that the music of the verb is very similar to what we had here. Ohev, ohevet, cholem, cholemet. Hu cholem, or hu cholem, he cholemet. Ani cholem, and if your wife were speaking, she would say ani cholemet. All right. Now we can take these, and we're using this exercise to build some simple sentences with 4 sections to them. And over here, these are all going to begin with the word to do something. So what do you think? What is she doing?
Speaking.
Right, and you probably know the word for to speak.
Is it daber or mar?
Yeah, you're very close.
Okay.
Yeah, le daber.
Okay.
All the next 3 pictures that we're going to, this and 2 other pictures, all begin with le, which means to. Okay, there's not a separate word for, like we have in English, like to walk, to think, to swim, to eat. It's fused into the root of the word, le daber. So we can call this lady Deborah, okay? Because that's the easy way to think of her talking, because you can hear the sound of the word daber, le daber in the word Deborah. They're not associated, by the way, because the word dvorah in Hebrew, Deborah, in English, actually is the word for bee, B-E-E.
Oh, wow.
But so le daber is the word here. Is the music for this, le daber. So here we can say ani rotse ledaber. We don't know what, but
right.
but right now it's so ani rotse ledaber, ani ohev ledaber, ani cholem ledaber. I dream of speaking.
Right.
Because the word dream can also be used not just for what you do when you're asleep, but it could be a statement of ambition as well, a desire to achieve. So, here's our guy here over again. Hu rotse ledaber, he rotsa ledaber, hu ohev ledaber, he ohevet ledaber, and hu cholem, he cholemet. Let's go a couple more here. Now, this is a classroom situation. What are they doing there?
Oh, let's see. What is that? Look at the wrong screen. It looks like they're learning, or the teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
They're learning. Okay. Do you happen to? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you happen to remember the Hebrew word for to learn?
Is it Talmud? Or
You're very close.
or lamad or something like that.
Yes, you come. The root of the word comes. The word Talmud
Okay.
comes from that root. So if you take
Gotcha.
away the first letter, you're left with Lamed, Mem, and Dalet,
Nice.
which is the root meaning for learning, and also the word for teach comes from that, and there are other words that are derived from that. The word for student is a Talmid, who learns Talmud. And this, if we remember, we said before that this is a category we know as, I don't want to use the grammar terminology here, but when to speak, this is to learn. The Hebrew word for to learn is lil mod, lil mod.
Lilmod.
So now he could say, Ani rotze lil mod, Ani ohev lil mod, hu cholem lil mod, hu rotze lil mod. One more step here. And here's the word for writing.
Right.
Now, if you know the three sections of the Hebrew Bible in Hebrew, we start out with Torah, and then we have the next section, the word Tanakh. We have the Nevi'im, and then the final section is known as the Ketuvim.
Right.
So that's where this word. So in Tanakh, those three letters are an acronym. So here we have it was to speak and to learn. This is obviously going to be to write, and it's related to that word Ketuvim. So, and the word is lich tov. We take out the dot that hardens the consonant there.
Okay.
It's known as a chaf as opposed to a kaf, but that's for later study. But the word is lich tov. So now, what is it that everybody's so interested, wanting, dreaming, loving to do? Well, they want to do all of that in Hebrew. So now we have four parts of a sentence constructed together that we can vary in different ways that you want to. And this is something that a person can do for their own homework through this week to manipulate these sentences and come up with them in different ways. You say, well, but Sanders, I don't really know how I'd write them all out. You didn't tell me that yet. Oh, well, let me help you. There you go. So
Nice.
now you can see all of the different components here, and you can actually manipulate them as you would wish to. So what's in red here obviously relates to the feminine gender. So we see rotza, ohevet, cholemet, okay? And then the masculine is here, as you see in the black. So the colors are random, so don't read anything into it. I know everybody's hypersensitive to these days, but well, get over it. So
right.
that's pretty much it. And so if any of you wish to connect with me personally, you're welcome to drop me an email at gavrielsanders@gmail.com. There are some further learning experiences at my website, which is gavrielsanders.com. And any correspondence you'd like to have, if there's specific things that you would like to ask about the Hebrew language, insights that you have that you would wish to share, this is a program that we do together. It's a group learning experience. As I said to you in last week's program, I don't want to be the sage on the stage. I'd much rather be a guide on the side, and to helping all of us to kind of shepherd each other along a process of learning. Ad bo Mashiach tzidkenu b'mhira b'yamenu, as they say, until the coming of Mashiach, may it be speedily in our day. Any last comment or thought on your side?
Take off the screen share real fast. That way I can see your smiling face on the way out. And then we will, so next week what we'll try to do is we will either do one of two things. We'll either do a 30-minute segment like we did today, with the first half dedicated to more intermediate, and the second half, or vice versa. It may be better vice versa, so it makes more sense. Or we'll just set it up as separate shows altogether. So it probably would be easier on my side, maybe, if we did them together. And if we followed the timeline, to break it at 15 minutes, then it'll be really easy for anybody to click on it and just fast forward to 15 minutes in, and boom, there's your segment. That might be the better way to go. It's a good idea.
Okay,
I think. So.
Very, very good. And listen, again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to engage this way with the wonderful audience that you have. Your feedback to us is genuinely and appreciated and desired, because it's a vast, vast subject. And
yes,
so
it is. Absolutely.
We want to narrow it down to something that's meaningful for each one of you. So on that note, as of my favorite passage from the book of Tehillim, I'll share with you. Maybe we'll learn it next week. Hashem oz la'amo yiten, Hashem yavarech et amo v'shalom. That Hashem will give courage, power, might to His people. Hashem will bless His people with peace. Kol tuv lehitraot.
Shalom, shalom, lehitraot, and Shavua Tov. Thank you, sir. See you next week. Bye-bye.
כולנו שותפים.
חשוב תמיד להיות אנושיים.
אני אתה אתם תמיד כולם ביחד. חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. דיבוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, שאיפה